Happy Thursday, everyone. It's Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your host, Clutch Crypto.
What's going on is B Wellington in the house. So we got interesting morning here. We called it. I
We
don't want
did,
to get
right? Let's see
into
if we can call it again.
exactly. I don't want to get into exactly what happened, how we were right. We called a pump earlier in the week. It's still, man, it's so choppy. People can talk about a bull market all they want in crypto, but bull markets don't get these types of chops, right? We haven't seen this kind of choppiness. This is clearing way for a move, and I don't think it's going to be to the upside. I mean, we're at end of quarter, third quarter, or first quarter, end of quarter. Banks are taking profits. People are going to take profits. Um, World's gone to shit. I mean, we're in the 1970s, man. You weren't even born then.
It's all over.
These are the highest gas prices you ever seen in your whole fucking lifetime. Dog, I was six when these gas prices came through.
Oh, shit.
I wasn't even driving, you know what I'm saying? I just had to hear my daddy complain about it. God
Bitch
damn,
about.
boy, these motherfucking
Oh, he was a trucker
gas
too,
prices.
right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Of course he's gonna bitch about them gas prices.
Hey man, that's gonna cost when gas goes up, everything goes up because everything gotta be delivered.
That's right, that's right.
Well, most things.
Well, let's
You
jump
wanna
to the
hop in? You wanna
charts.
hop into? You wanna hop into the charts?
Yeah, I know you got a busy morning ahead.
No, I got some wood to chop.
Great analogy, great analogy. People on the
No,
show
I don't
like,
think
what
it's
the
gonna
fuck?
happen, man. I was like, hey, man, can we take a break today? Jesus, you're killing me. Alrighty now. Can you see my screen?
I can see you,
No.
I can't see your screen.
Here we go.
There we go.
So, says precipitous announcing. So let's start off on ETH like we always start off. I'm going to take this off. This is the zone that I had marked out, but I think we'll return to that we haven't just yet. Hey, man, somebody's really trying to get at your ass.
Yeah,
Bling,
no.
bling, bling, bling.
Turn this on mute.
So here we go. We've got the daily chart on Ethereum USDT up. Looking at it, you can see we've come up, we've touched the 50 a couple times.
Lower highs every time.
Yeah, but it's lower highs every time. So even if we come back up and hit this 50, we'll still be in line with this downward trend line. Now, this downward trend line is just the trend line that we've had since this um, downward spiral that we've been through since highs that we had last year. This was this trend line here was the old trend line before we broke it. So I just drew another trend line. And we're staying within these particular blocks, but at some point on the daily, we're gonna break out of this. And the only reason, I'll reiterate, the only reason I put in these lines is not to say where to trade, but where other traders are. So you see, you've got this wick here. You have a lot of traders that, taking these shorts that came down, thought it was a breakout, and they bring it back up, take out those stops, take out those folks that are leveraged, and then whipsaw, do the same thing, come back up to these peaks, take these longs. I think you're breaking out from the 50, bring these guys back to this trend line. So as you can see, with this activity moving up, folks are buying off of this trend line for another breakout. I think, I don't know why, to be honest with you. I don't know why crypto's thinking we're going to break out from here.
Because
We are at some lows.
I think that's probably from the positive news that came out from the White House yesterday with the executive order. I think people are trying to find hope and positivity and think that crypto is going to bounce back. And
Well,
we
what
talk
you
about it all
don't
the
need,
time.
but what you don't need to look for is all the negative news that's out there surrounding part of the problem. I think that what we're finding is the crypto industry is so young that we think that we are separate from the macro global economy, and that we're going to be the solution, right? We see gold pump, and we want to be in the same light as gold relative to a asset that is an inflationary hedge, and we're just not there yet. We're very highly correlated with the market. Until that changes, and we have been for, I heard one analyst say 6 months. I think it's been longer than that, but definitely with all, we asked for this though. We said we wanted institutional money, right? Institutional money has to classify this as a risk on or a risk off asset. And so they classified it as a risk on asset, which means in times of macro troubles that they're going to take capital out, take profits, and sit on the sideline. I think cash is probably the best position to be in the times that we're at. If you're a multi-million billion-dollar fund, why are you going to want to sit through all these whipsawed ups and downs? So this is a 1 hour. It's a little lower time frame than the daily, but as you can see here, we're just whipping and rolling. So this little pump here that made people think that possibly we can get up to this area. We broke through the 200, almost got to the 800, pulled back from there, back to the same trend line that we've been working with for the past, couple weeks here. So the question is, are we going to continue these up momentums to grab these longs? And when do we see us moving down into some of these other areas? Because there are imbalances down here in the chart that I think eventually need to be addressed. And so also think that the macro news is going to be very heavy as well. Looking at the 5-minute, kind of some intraday different plays. Again, we've had the spike to the upside. This is kind of the Brinks box, brought it back down, working our way back up to this trend line here. But nothing substantial. We're kind of just making our way back up. Futures market opens up in 8 minutes, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But obviously, this was a trap to the upside, bringing it back down. Doesn't mean that they can't come back up here and kind of recycle through these EMAs, kind of recycle and try to catch more longs. But obviously, this was a trap to the upside to catch some longs and to take those stops out. So it's going to be whether or not it continues up, maybe test these areas, or come back up, swing failure pattern to the upside, bring it back down, and then continue down even further. So that's what I'm looking at chart-wise. If we hop on to some USDT, your favorite chart that you like to take a look at. Look at that, exact opposite.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it runs in sync. And then you
Yeah.
see that heavy green candle. There's a really good chance they're going to come back and recover that. So them going down, this chart going down means that we're going to see Bitcoin, Ethereum probably go up.
So maybe we have that pump we were talking about at the futures open.
Mm-hmm. And then up there, once we get up into that range, that's where we're really going to have to pay attention to see if we break out or if we get rejected in that area and continue more to the downside.
We got 10-year treasuries that have continued to rise. So that means money's flowing out of those treasuries and into other things.
There was a big article this morning about how they were planning on using the 30-year yield bond to help with this potential bailout with inflation.
Yeah, so one of the other big things that is in the news is the fact that the Fed has stopped adding to its balance sheet, right? So they're no longer buying bonds and placing them on the balance sheet. So that's going to have an impact overall, as well. All that was part of tightening.
What do you think that does for a long term if we stop buying bonds?
So if we stop, so the point of buying the bonds is to get cash out into the market. And so, we put the bonds on, we pay for the bonds. The bonds are then that money's released to the government or released into the economy. And so, if we stop doing that, then it should um, stabilize things a little bit as far as the money printing is concerned. But I don't see how we can continue to do that because we are going to need additional funds to help with your Ukraine. I think part of this $1 trillion bill, they're supposed to add, part of it is just to run the government, right? Part of it is just to keep the government moving along. And there's some other money, but there's also incentive money for the economy as we kind of go through some of these tough times. So we still got gold here at 2000. Um, this has come back slightly to sell off, but it's looking like it wants to head back up, and we can look at it on a higher time frame as well. This is the competition for
Golly,
Bitcoin,
that got almost
right?
up to $2,100. 2070. Wow.
So this is the competition for crypto, right?
Yeah.
We want to have the market cap that gold has. And so gold's making newer highs during this time. I mean, part of that is it's been around forever. There's a much higher market cap. There's a lot more trust that goes into it. Russia, China, they're all invested in it as well. So it'll be interesting to see how gold and crypto performs over the next few months as this war continues to continues to happen and take place. So, that's pretty much what we wanted to look at chart wise. Here's coin analyze. Let me just refresh. This is ETH. So we've got a mixed bag across the board. Here's Bybit. Here's our boys. Long, and FTX being net short. That's always something I pay attention to. But then I think we're pretty much mixed across the board relative to funding rates, open interest
I
wise.
really want to look at this spot right here.
Well, I did open it earlier and was taking a look at it. So let me put it on the 1 hour. Here's the 1 hour. So this
Oh wow.
spot price is USD. This spot price is USDT for all the major markets. And so we've had a
This just
downtrend.
doesn't look good at all.
We've had a downtrend. I mean, these can pick up at any time, but if we look at it over a longer time frame, at least spot on USDT has been on a decline. Um, this USDT, USD, and I'm still trying to figure out how to best. If this chart's meaningful, it seems like it is, at least on the spot. But breaking out the USDT between the USDT and the USD, I don't know yet. But
Right.
obviously, both of these have fallen off um, as far as CVD is concerned. So just remember, this is CVD. So it just means there's just less buying that's out there, which would correlate with prices coming down. So we've got 2 minutes till New York opens. So let's take a look, or at least the futures market. So we've got Nasdaq futures are down, S&P futures are down. Everything's down. I mean, but this is not surprising. We had some historic days yesterday with the large increase.
Look at how this negative news is just starting to pop up right here too.
Well, it's just
Man.
you know, and part of that is also the algorithm, right? Part of that is people read things into the fear. But gold's back up. Everybody was celebrating oil that was down yesterday because the IEA came out and UAE came out and said they were going to help support, and then they came back and said, maybe not. I'm sure they got some phone calls and said, hey, stay in your lane. We speak as a board, not as individual countries. And so crude oil has continued to come up as well. Not positive for stocks.
No, not at all.
We already experienced in the news this morning So if we go to the economic calendar, this is what we've been looking at. We spoke on this a little bit earlier. Consumer price index came in at zero point 0.8 versus the zero point 0.7 that was expected. And a lot of people expected it higher than that, but this is kind of what the market goes off of. And all the other numbers, core CPI year over year. Also think these numbers are under stated just because it's a basket of goods, and now that basket of goods it goes higher every day. So this could be really an under stated number that's here. So that's really all I've got on my end. Just from a overall market standpoint, if I had to put probability on some things, I think we have a pretty crazy day. I think we get a head fake, maybe another head fake to the upside, and then back down.
I think crazy day is an understatement right now. So this is Bookmap. I have Bookmap already pulled up. As this is the ETH chart, as you can see here. We're hanging out. We're still in this 2584 range. We did have a bounce off of 2550 area right here. As you can see, New York's opening right now. And looks like we're trying to make some headway up to the upside. This is exactly what we were kind of forecasting, that we would see this pump up here. We had CBD kind of max out down here in the negative 27,000 range. As you can see, it's slowly starting to make its way up. I would be interested in possibly looking at it long once we have CBD cross up here above our order difference. That's usually a good indicator that we're going to have a run up. But we're going to have to hang out and just kind of monitor this. As far as heavy areas of orders, 2720 is important to look for today. That's got about a little over 2,400 orders sitting there. Below us, we have 25,000 with 1,600 orders, and then we have about 2,450 with a little over 1,000 orders. So those are going to be critical areas if we get to them today, to kind of pay attention to see what our price does and reacts off of, if we're going to do a bounce or if we're going to continue the upside. Again, if we do break under this 2550 area that we saw earlier this morning, I would go ahead and anticipate that we would go ahead and move down to this 2,500 range, and then from there kind of see what happens. If you want to take a look at Bitcoin real quick, we can. Just try to get an idea of what we're going to see in the Bitcoin chart today. We have up here, we have a little bit of a resistance wall up here at 39,700. And then we have some heavy areas around 38,600 and 38,500. As you can see, we are working our way down there pretty intensely right now. So it looks like the short is going to continue on. Again, we can watch this live right now because we're approaching this area pretty quickly here to see what happens when we get into this 2550 range like we talked about, to see if we want to do a continuation down to the downside to 2,500. This has got a lot of momentum too, guys. So let's just check this out real quick. See if this plays out or if we get a bounce. Maybe.
Oh man, looks like I don't know about a bounce.
It might just break right through it. The bigger these bubbles get, the more momentum. When we start really approaching these areas, we really like this. We really want to start seeing real big bubbles in this area, and if we see that, then we'll break through it pretty easily. It does look like it's having a little bit of trouble stalling out right here. So
yeah, I mean, but this could also be the head fake that we were talking about.
Yeah.
So the head fake could be to the downside and then move up, and then have a sell off later.
yeah, absolutely.
It's very well possible.
Let's slide over to high block real quick and see what the high block chart looks like. While we're waiting on this to play out, let me update this real quick. Man, they did that move down and a quick move up and quick move down, and I was looking at this chart a little earlier, And I was just like, it was just like, kapow, kapow. Okay, as you can see here, we have a bunch of big short liquidations that formed when we were doing this. If you go back in a little bit of time and you see that we had the same scenario happen March 8th, so that was 2 days ago. That would have been, what would that been? Tuesday. You can see we had the same scenario where these big bubbles popped up here again, and then you can see what happened afterwards. We started to see some moves up. These have showed up again this morning, kind of that little clear out move that happened. So let's kind of zoom in to see what we're looking at in kind of a smaller time frame level. So they are ranging here. You can see the last dot that we had here was a green dot, which normally indicates that they'll come. That a new big long order was placed, and then you can see little 2569 is an area that they might want to come back down here and get. They have a $27 million long liquidation at 2554. That puts us right above breaking through that area that we got to this morning. We got down to like 2550, 2549. So we come down to that area, stay above that, and then come up based with what we're seeing here. That might be a potential that we may have room to move to the upside today. So again, today's going to be a real tricky day to trade. I think there's going to be a lot of high volatility in the market, and I think the best thing to do is really pay attention to these levels that we talked about and see how price reflects off of those prices, and then make decisions based off of that. And do be careful today. Again, I feel like it's going to be a very tricky day trying to get in a trade, just because of where we are in the market and what it looks like they're trying to do, which has caused a lot of uncertainty on market direction right now. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out once we get to these areas of concern.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I was looking at some of the news. You know, I follow follow on Twitter, but also Zero Hedge. I mean, if you ever want to feel bearish one day, just get on there and take a look at all their articles. They seem to point out every disaster, that's
negative thing that's happening
that's out there. But you know what? It's real unbiased opinion relative to what is going on. And we do have problems. We do have some issues with the economy that needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed. I think that's what's causing a lot of the volatility is, trying to figure out the plan that the Fed's going to do and whether or not we believe that plan's going to be, effective in getting, gas prices down and CPI down. Obviously, that's just being exasperated. The Fed comes out and says a couple months ago, hey, inflation's a problem, but we believe it's caused by supply side issues that are going to go away. Those issues aren't going away. So now the volatility is, what's the Fed going to do now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we have some interesting times ahead of us. And as you mentioned, as far as market goes, we're looking at the end of first quarter. We're looking at, people taking profit for first quarter. We're also looking at, March has never historically been a good month for crypto. However, I mean, we haven't seen anything, in my opinion, major happen in price yet this month, but, we're only 10 days into it. So, this is still anyone's game. And with the war going on, I just don't see a whole lot of positive stuff, really coming out yet. And they were really trying to, I feel like get people on board with the crypto executive order and things they were doing yesterday. You could see that they were trying to get some positive news out there, basically put some whipped cream on shit, as my old coach used to say. And now we turn around and
sounds pretty disgusting.
Yeah,
okay.
Man, but it's just an analogy, right? And anyway, so and now we have negative news coming out today, and a big uncertainty on our market direction. Is Nasdaq, before we get off here? Is Nasdaq still negative, or did it kind of show up and actually open in the positive direction?
Nasdaq is, hold on, I'm slow to load. It's down, I believe. Let's go to market watch. Yeah, I mean we closed. We're negative 1.63%, 216 points down.
Yeah.
Dow's down 384 points. So, they're digging into a little bit. I mean, what was the Dow? What was Nasdaq up yesterday? Like 400 points, something
Yeah,
like that.
400. I think Dow was up 500 or 600 points for close yesterday. Again, this has been the repeating cycle. Positive movement. First part of the week, negative movement in the second half. Of the week.
With the market moving like this, they talk about how risky and volatile crypto is. We've had some volatile days in Nasdaq. I mean, 1.482%. I mean, that's pretty that's pretty volatile for the market.
I think we're about to see some moves up here to the upside here pretty quick. If we can just break this area right here at 25.50, we're going to go up for a little bit. Or I mean 25.90. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's all we have today for the show. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Till next time. AMF.
Adios.